Hello, everyone. I'm Gloria Strode, sitting in for Gloria Strode. Straightforward with Gloria Strode. That's the name of the show, and I would like to be considered Gloria's better half, and she mine. But I have the honor, the distinguished honor, of sitting here and having an opportunity to talk with Reverend Curtis Crocker, or shall I say Dr. Curtis Crocker.
Curtis Crocker is fine.
All right, yes, child of God, as we all are. Yes,
that is it.
And you know, during this show, I'm excited, and I'm honored to have an opportunity to just talk with you about who you are, your journey, and some of the great things that are going on at your church, Metropolitan, and also here in the Columbus community. So first, let's start out with, who is Curtis Crocker?
Oh my God. First of all, let me just say thank you to you and your beautiful wife for allowing me to be a part of this segment of this show. I don't take it lightly for being here. And I thank God on a daily basis for life and his consideration for the things that he has done in my life. You ask a question, who am I? Wow. I'm a little old boy from Columbus, Georgia, born in 1961 at 4534 Old Casita Road here, and matriculated through.
Wait a minute now. You said at 4535 Old Casita Road. So you were you born in the hospital, or were you?
Well, I was born at the medical center, but that's funny.
but the address you came home to was
4534 Old Casita Road, where May Francis Crocker and Curtis Crocker Sr., bless his soul, who passed on in 2012. But yes, I'm born and raised right here in Columbus, Georgia. Went through to Casita Road Elementary, where Mr. Caldwell was the principal, and Southern Junior High School. For those of you who don't remember Southern, yes, it was a black junior high school over there in Washington Heights. And then I went on to Baker High School. So God has been good to me here in Columbus. I don't and would not trade my upbringing for anything. Firm parents. It was 4 of us together, kids, my siblings and I. My mother and father made sure that we were educated. My brother graduated from Tuskegee, my sister from Mercer University, I myself from Morehouse, and my other sister from Knoxville College and Spelman. So we all were introduced to education at a very young age, and Mom made sure that education was the key. Yes, we got in trouble. Yes, by the grace of God and some of the things that we did, we just didn't get caught. But we don't think that we're more than anyone else, because everything has purpose in my eyes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, just by listening to you describe that journey.
Yes.
Having siblings were you the oldest or the youngest?
I am the youngest of 4.
Youngest,
yes.
okay,
Yes,
all right.
The youngest.
And having been in some seen and unseen places, and having survived that journey, we know the pitfalls for young African American men, not only here in the Columbus and the South, but throughout the nation. I can tell you some stories about that.
Yes, indeed.
I just have a great appreciation for the first thing that came out of your mouth with respect to what was important. And that was education.
Education. That's one of the things that, like I mentioned earlier, that our parents made sure that we had the opportunity to be educated. Now, what we did with it is another story, but they made sure that the opportunity was there. So I thank God for that every day.
And you being a Morehouse man, you just carried that on through to the other parts of your life also. And I think the most important one is you had enough sense to marry a woman of substance.
Well, you know, Leisha is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful person, very jovial. Every time you see her, she has a smile on her face, and I thank God for her.
Yeah, I've had the pleasure of witnessing that.
Yeah. You know, the Bible says that when you find a wife, you find a good thing. And she is my good thing. She compliments me very well. she makes sure that my hair is combed. And
Yeah.
Because she says that I have to represent her.
You know, in military terms, we used to have to stand in formation.
That's
and,
right.
You know, they check your gig line and make sure you had everything in place. So
order.
you go through that too.
I go through that. And mentioning the military, I just want to say Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans here in Columbus, Georgia, and whoever may be watching this particular segment. I salute you as a veteran myself. And we thank God for you and your service. Thank you for your service.
Tell me a little bit about that.
I joined the military after college, as a matter of fact, and I was stationed in Fort Lewis, Washington, in the 9th Infantry Division.
Okay.
And we were deployed to Sinai, Egypt, during the Gaddafi, whatever you want to call it, situation. I don't know, it wasn't a war or anything like that, but there were things that were happening in the desert, and we were dispatched there as the multinational forces to make sure that everything stayed peaceful. So I even thank God for that experience, because it taught me discipline. It taught me how to get rid of some of the pride that I may have had growing up, thinking that I was all that. But it taught me a lot, and I appreciate that. And some of the teachings that I did receive during the military training carries over now with me as I try to teach other young men and young women how to live.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm truly honored to sit here with you on this special day, Veterans Day. But also I salute you as a brother in arms.
Yes.
We know what that means.
Yes.
And whether you've been in combat or whether you've been in the peacetime army, it's still a big sacrifice.
Yes, indeed.
It's still one of those journeys that includes quite a bit of sacrifice.
That's quite a bit of sacrifice. That's
and
correct.
I also salute the spouses that kept the home front intact, so we had a place to come.
That's true.
Come back to during those long deployments. Yes, we're going to take a break here and resume this conversation. This is Straightforward with Gloria Strode. I'm Tolly Strode, and we'll be back after a word from some of our sponsors.
Straightforward is brought to you by Chalk by Quincy introduces Excellence Redefined, timepieces of the finest technology, luxury, and class with tons of style at chalklifestyle.com. Renal Associates, LLC, a team of physicians dedicated to excellent kidney care with 5 convenient locations to serve you: Stark Avenue, Columbus; Bradley Park Drive, Columbus; Lafayette Parkway, LaGrange; West Washington Street, Eufaula; and Spring Street in Warm Springs. Vanessa Jackson's District 3 Successful Scholars Program, supporting students in achieving academic excellence, outstanding citizenship, positive social and cultural growth, believing in success for kids. Dr. Sheikha Shaw Family Medicine, connecting your health to your future. Dr. Shaw prides herself in providing compassionate health care and establishing long-lasting relationships. Conveniently located at 2827 Warm Springs Road, Suite 3B. Call her today at 706-324-4177.
Walmart's reason for supporting Thurgood Marshall College Fund is simple. We like to win. And we have been given a lot of exposure to some incredible talent. And we also believe that it's a part of our responsibility to the community to give back. This is a great opportunity to do both. It's been a wonderful experience for us through the years. We've appreciated our partnership. We believe in return on investment, and we have definitely had a remarkable return.
History is important because it shows where you're coming from and where you're going. Type 2 diabetes is something that runs in my family, which means I'm at risk. In fact, 1 in 3 American adults are at risk for developing type 2 diabetes. And knowing this, if I do nothing, that family history becomes my family's future. And my family is too important to me for that. Take the risk factor assessment today at AskScreenKnow.com.
Hi, I'm Tolly Strode, and this is Straightforward with Gloria Strode. and I'm here with the distinguished gentleman, Pastor and Dr. Curtis Crocker, for a opportunity to speak and learn more about him and his family, his ministry, his role in this community. You know, I'm always interested in the other half,
yes.
because, you know, we sort of wear ourselves on our lapels.
That's correct.
And we have an important part of us that normally goes without mention.
That's correct.
And that is our spouses,
Yes.
who wake up with us in the morning,
Yes.
make sure that we're walking out the house with
Yes.
with the right color socks on.
That's funny, but true. Yeah.
matching, you know,
That's
the
true.
attire
That's
is
true.
right,
That's true.
and you know, feeds us and takes care of the all of the issues that we're not there to be there for us. So let's talk a little bit about your wife.
Oh wow, Alicia, Miss Alicia, she's she's the last child of 13 children in Norton, Virginia, in the mountains of Norton, Virginia.
And you know, we not only share the military experience, but I'm married to the youngest of four.
So that's another thing we have in common. Them, you know, and don't tell anybody I told you this, but she's kind of spoiled. But
Okay, we'll keep that between ourselves.
Right. She's kind of spoiled, but you know, at the end of the day, I spoiled. Okay, and I think that's what we should do as husbands, is to make sure that not only we nurture our wives, but we remind them how much we really care for them. When I go out and speak in different places, in different arenas, I always acknowledge her as being my sunshine.
Yeah.
My guiding light.
Amen to that.
Things of that nature, so that she can feel special in the public's eye, and don't have to worry about you know, interferences and anything like that. But so the world will know who she really is, and who she is to me.
Yeah.
That's
now,
right.
see, you know, and I always look at, okay, who did you pick, and why did you pick them? And one of the things I'll tell folks, I picked my spouse because I knew she wasn't going to let me make a mistake. And if she saw me heading in the right direction, she would speak up about it.
Right.
And, you know, I needed someone like that to help make sure that I, as the typical man, didn't miss the signals that, you know, maybe I sense that, especially with her having her own accomplishments, you picked someone who wasn't no doormat. You picked someone that was
kind of firm,
you know,
and at the end of the day, jovial, and knew how to keep peace in the home. That's correct. That's correct. You know, one of the things I admire about my wife, in 2016, when I was finishing my dissertation, and I had to defend. But a couple of weeks prior to that, I got a phone call from my committee chair. And they said that your paper was no good, that you got to start over, and you got to do this. You got to, and I was on the verge of not completing it, that documentation, that dissertation, and I almost quit. And I never forget how she stood there and she said, "You know what? We've come too far by faith to let this thing go."
Absolutely.
And because of that, I strapped up my boots and got my laptop and moved to Atlanta for a week, and we redid that thing, and by the grace of God, the defense went well, the redefense went well with the corrections, and so be it. But I can actually say that she was that driving force to make sure that we completed that documentation, because we had come too far.
Yeah.
A long ways. To
See,
get to
that's what it's all about. You had a mate that was willing to stand in her place and say, "Listen, we're not going to, and we're not going to give up on something that we've worked for together." I think that's just so important, you know, for people to understand that that's what a relationship is really about. And of course, I'm sure that you've been there in those moments where you say, "You know, I think we need to take a different approach, or maybe this is my counsel to you." And that's what a relationship is all about.
It's give and take. Absolutely, it's give and take, making sure that you communicate. Now, there may be times when the communication may not be like you want it to be, but
especially if you're married to a gunslinger. Now I know how it can. I know how it can be.
But at the end of the day, God don't make any mistakes.
Right.
So we just make sure that we follow the will of God, and even when choosing our mates.
Yeah. But I think it's also important in terms of your ministry. You've got someone there that's in your corner, and as Gloria would say, everyone in your circle is not necessarily in your corner.
Right.
But you have someone that's there in your corner that is there as a helpmate.
That's right.
And also as a guide.
As a guide, yes.
To help you make sure that your ministry is on the right track also. And you guys do a lot of fantastic work. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, wow. Metropolitan Baptist Church, I was called there in 2012, and it has been a journey. Some good times and some bad times, some transitions, some transformations, and I pray that God is continuing to speak life into me, to give me the vision for the direction for us to go. The church had, when I first got there, I recognized it may not have had all the resources that it needed at that time, but by the grace of God, we have been able to develop some great relationships here in the city. Members began to come, new membership, the congregation began to grow. We began to invite the millennials into the house,
young
and with
people.
that, some younger folks, and with that, we were able to blend the two. And there's some good times, some bad times, some misunderstandings when sometimes if we've been in a place too long, we become territorial. And but with the right guidance, the right communication, the right bringing together other groups, the different meetings, that we were able to conquer some of the issues that we may have had. But at the end of the day, God is still moving in the right direction as the church is still growing. We have our good days and bad days, but at the end of the day, it's we are a growing church, we're growing Christians. And building the kingdom one soul at a time. So I'm so thankful for the Metropolitan crowd and for the leadership that is there, to the ministers, the deacons, the trustees, and all of those we are working together. One of the things about the black church, at one point, if you look at the historical matter behind it, the context, you'll see that the black church is sometimes under the control by a particular group. But my word reminds me that all things work together for the good for those of us who love the Lord. So we as a unit, as a religious or faith-based unit, if we don't sit and just have conversation and talk about where and what the vision is about, and use the word of God to make sure that the vision goes forth, when you put all that together, you can't help but to have some successes. And we have had some successes. Some of the things that we do there, like for instance, 26, we're feeding the community. We have a large homeless community around the church, and like in most areas, there are communities where we have a community of homeless people. So we service the homeless people. We make sure that we feed them and clothe them as best we can, and we have different events and we invite them in.
And I want to come back to that and after this next break.
Okay.
To hear a little bit more about that, the Martin Luther King event that you guys put on annually, and some of the other work.
Okay, very good.
Okay, this is Straightforward with Gloria Strode. I'm Tolly Strode, and we'll be back after a word from some of our sponsors.
Straightforward is brought to you by Warrior Outreach. Contact Command Sergeant Major Retired Sam Rhodes or Kathy Rhodes. The Hugel Foundation, enriching the community through Christian music support, community outreach, and the Georgia Through Photography Project. For more information, call B at 706-568-6431. Progressive Funeral Home, family owned and operated since 1952. The George Ford legacy of high standards continues today in the compassionate and professional services provided. A touch of dignity for those who care. Progressive Funeral Home, 4235 St. Mary's Road. trusted by generations. East Alabama Endocrinology, educating and caring for those living with diabetes in Alabama and Georgia. 1400 Bradley Lake Boulevard, 3320 Skyway Drive, Suite 602, Opelika. Take charge of diabetes and live your best life. State Senator Ed Harbison, serving the citizens of Georgia's 15th Senatorial District and on the front line for veterans every day.
Hi, this is Tolly Strode, and you are watching Straightforward with Gloria Strode, and I'm here with the distinguished doctor, Reverend, pastor of Metropolitan Church, and husband.
Yes. Father.
Father.
Yes. Grandfather.
You have all of the handles, and you wear them well.
Oh, well, thank you.
I wanted to continue our conversation about the work at Metropolitan Church. It's some great work. You talked about or I made mention of the Martin Luther King, the annual event that you put on that I've actually attended, a couple of times, and I greatly appreciate, the remembrance of the great Dr. King, and perhaps there's, some ties back to your alma mater and all of that. So let's talk a little bit more about Metropolitan.
Metropolitan, when I first got there, I had, I was told that there was a Martin Luther King experience every Martin Luther King Day. It was geared to bring the community together during the lunch hour, and once I took on that role as pastor, then I felt like we could probably expand it to a greater audience by bringing in the Michael Thurmans, the different leaders. Last year we had the newly elected NAACP, L.K. Pendleton, speaking. So we try to bring in people that should be connecting with the community. Right. And with that, we have had some success with that. So, I have witnessed mayors from both cities, Phoenix City and Columbus, coming in, and the different congressmen and council people, and so I thank God for that opportunity, because it gives us an opportunity to fellowship together. And unbeknown to a lot of people, after that service, we feed the community again, soup and crackers. So. We talk about it's a day on and not a day off, so we make sure that we continue to serve. From that service, there are a lot of connections. From when we give out a humanitarian award, we gave an award to Dr. Weaver, who was the past principal at Martin Luther King Elementary, which is a school that I go to mentor the kids, and I continue to volunteer to do that. I'm aware of that. You're doing a lot of things like that quietly and effectively. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of times you don't have to be up front to do things. Let your work speak for itself. Faith without works is dead. You have to put something into it. We have a systematic problem here in Columbus, Georgia, where we're watching young people die. And I've taken it upon myself and a few other people that I've invited in. I know that 4th Street has a program over there as well with Dr. Flakes. But, personally, I want to put my finger on it. And by doing that, I go in and put myself in the midst of the mentorship. This systematic problem is something that's down through the years has transcended into something that has moved into where we're killing each other. So what's the best way to handle that? You take the young kids now. And you sit with them, and I've asked the new principal, Dr. Bentley Brown, Sister Bentley Brown, to give me the ones that are marginal, who are going through some issues, who have the disciplinary problems, and let me have those conversations with them. So we're bringing in people to talk to them, to try to get them to understand that they are somebody.
Creating a village around them, to try and support.
That's a great word.
And I'm also aware of one distinguished opportunity that you've taken on, and that is to support the 2020 census.
Oh, absolutely.
Specifically the faith-based part of our community, trying to marshal some resources and get people involved to understand one very important thing. If you don't fill that census form out and don't get counted, as far as the federal, state, local
That's
government is
very
concerned,
key,
you
very
don't
key.
exist.
There are allocated
So,
funds that come down from the federal government every year. I mean, come down to the particular, every year. And if we're not careful during these 10-year spans of the census, we have to make sure we get counted, community. I'm very serious about this. If you want to know why your communities are not receiving allocations from your local governments, it's only because we have not been counted. We've got to make sure that during the Census 2020, we get counted. My focus, to be honest with you, I have taken on the faith-based community. I've been talking to Linda Parker of the Methodists, Walter Taylor with the
I mean, it's just a
Apostolic.
broad
It's a
array.
broad
of
array, and we've gotten people involved in now getting counted. Valerie Thompson is having a group. Pastor Davis, Liberty Hill had a session. So we're bringing people in. We even had sessions at elementary schools, and we're talking to people about the importance of bringing this funding in. We've got to make sure that the political power is dispersed properly, and also the funding that comes down. We have to get counted, community. There's just no other
absolutely.
way.
If we don't get counted, then we don't exist when it comes to those important decisions.
That's true.
And I appreciate you, number one, taking on that responsibility, because we need all hands on deck in that particular part of the fight.
Right.
And also, we need to make sure, that gentlemen like yourself, are recognized for that work and continue to be supported in terms of the importance of the whole effort to the community.
Yes.
And it's just been a pleasure, my friend,
thank you so much, Tom.
to spend some time with you and talk about the important work that you're doing, not only on the faith-based, but also outside of the faith-based community, in the community, working with some of these issues, that need the attention of everyone.
Yeah, keep your eyes and ears open. There's some other things that's coming down down the horn. We're working with Greg Contraman in this fight against this crime issue. And it is my prayer that we as a community come together and make sure that we address those issues that are important to our community, and develop the resource that we can bring some peace and some healing to everyone.
Okay. Well, thank you, Dr. Crocker. I
Thank you so
appreciate
much for having
here.
me here. Thank you so much.
And in closing, I'd like to say that this is Straightforward with Gloria Strode. I'm Tolly Strode, and if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything.